This is transmission 3 from the backyard in Kailua, Kona. This will be the final transmission as I'm flying to Los Angeles in 2 days. As a stop between here and Charleston, and we'll also stop in New York. It's been a bit frustrating getting this set up. An SD card was malfunctioning, and being in the dark with mosquitoes, setting up a tripod and projector and audio, and everything's always peaking. The lav audio hasn't been as great as I hoped it would be. I might actually just end up using the audio from the interface, the Zoom. So I think everything's set up and the projector's in focus, and I should have enough battery life on my computer, camera, and audio recorder, and hopefully flashlight as well. This was kind of an idea that I always had coming here, was to build a space for video projections in the backyard. And I did one other test because, it's been a while getting this set up. But now that I'm out here, it feels very natural. The test that I did was with the portable projector. When shooting the music video for Vera Mist at Kua Bay, I used a video loop of sped up sunsets, which is included in this visual montage. And it was very successful using my iPhone on loop, and now I'm just using a laptop and using a 30-minute prepared visual that I created today. I'm just kind of mashing up and speeding up a lot of my video work over the past few years. It works because a lot of the things that I've been working on have been on white backgrounds. And I really hope everything's not too overexposed on the video, which would be a shame. But I am seeing some colors here. And I think what's really beautiful about the portable projector and using it in the backyard is you can see, how the video warps. And the kind of vision wasn't necessarily to project on a body, but project onto the forest back here and kind of mash up, something quite synthetic and contemporary with, maybe something more natural. And the results were actually quite stunning when I did the preliminary test. Using the projector on the mesh created a warped effect, but the mesh actually this dark of a time kind of acts like a projection screen. So I actually found more success projecting directly onto the trees and tree trunks themselves and pointing and moving my hand. So right now we have a portable projector that's stationed, but I think, check. I feel like my levels are still pretty high. I'm actually getting no levels from number 2. Let's boost that. Check. It's so sensitive. So yeah, right now it's obviously stationary, but when you're holding it and pushing and pulling and bending and twisting, the effects are really incredible, especially on the leaves. It's really strange because the trees and leaves almost act as an alpha channel in that they mask out. It's an image mask for the video, so it's an alpha channel where the video only appears where the ferns and tree trunks exist. But instead of a green screen where it just feels like a cheap cutout of an image, it actually warps around the object in a really interesting way that green screens don't really capture. On the edges of the object, they kind of bend, and the resolution that I'm using, 1080p, there's some interesting grain effects and pixel blending, and it's very cool. And I understand now why people do video installations, and I've always been thinking it wasn't exactly for me, maybe because it was so temporary and I haven't really thought of myself as a gallery artist, but I really like this type of format where it's a little more meditative and I'm doing everything myself. We've got some raining coins, and so it's a shame that this test is only singular in nature, and I couldn't do more of the projector out here. And since the leaves are in the background, you're not going to get as great of shots. But maybe after this, I can take a couple test clips with this camera. I did a few with my iPhone, but they were, only 3 seconds long or so, because of the, just the time constraints that I was working with. So maybe I'll do a couple HD tests. So for now, it'll just be ornamental, but I do think it can be an actually robust method of making video and warping it in 3D space and not just working on the computer. And I like that it has a choreography to it, and you can, with the projector being handheld, I feel like it makes you into an action painter of the moving image, which sounds really pretentious, but it's something that I was really interested in exploring in Matter Movie, which will be in this video loop at some point, with the kinetic kind of action painting of the green screen alpha brush strokes that I did with Daniel Stoles and Bernhard Fassenfest. So I feel like that's as much as I should say for the technique. My fear is obviously that it's overexposed. I'm wearing a pretty light shirt. It actually says, Maddie's friend made this. It says forever. Oh, it just says forever. I like that. And we're getting some dancing Hatsune on here. I'll try to make my shirt flat for that. So let's see now that I've gotten the technical stuff out of the way. It's 10 p.m. on June 13th. It's a Thursday of 2019. I have an 8-minute running time of audio, probably a little more video, so I have about, a little over 20 minutes before the video kind of expires, and that's when I'll take my cue. Maybe Robert Ashley would be proud of this. It really is the brighter stuff. Like, this is incredible. And I like when things come flash in and out. I sped everything up because the movement is really what it needs to not just be a fixed light. It's something I've noticed since doing the Veramis video. And maybe it would be better just to not even use this lav mic because okay, I'll just leave it, it's okay. So I think for this final transmission, I'd like to reflect on Hawaii as a place, and kind of what I've learned since being here in terms of Kailua Kona as a city, West Hawaii as a region, and Big Island as part of the island chain of the Hawaiian Islands. I've learned about the history, although it seems a bit sparse. It seems that even local folk, it's not a point of conversation besides the classic story that's kind of told in the guidebook, Big Island Revealed, which is so interesting that a guidebook is such a ubiquitous testament to a place's history. Everyone's read it. King Kamehameha, Queen Liliuokalani, Captain Cook. You have these names of how the Big Island was colonized. And surprisingly, that King Kamehameha III it's a strange story of colonialism because it was only 200 years ago. It was very recent, and the Polynesian settlers were even more recent than a lot of ancient cultures, that we're used to looking very far back. But, we don't know that much about what the Polynesian settlers were doing in Hawaii a long time when they first got here, besides, what we have as archaeological evidence. And then being annexed as a U.S. territory and Pearl Harbor, you have these greatest hits. But in terms of its recent history, I hear people talking about the closure of the big factories and plantations of Dole, of how pineapple and banana was, the top export fruit here. And I believe the lands were overfarmed and all those plantations shut down, which was a huge economic hit to Hawaii as an island. And since then, we've tried to, I shouldn't even say we, maybe,